Welcome back to another Wheel Wednesday, where I spin this wheel and then I do the prompt that is on the wheel. Today's prompt is from Vito on Discord, and the screenshot I took of the prompt is, it wasn't the whole text, but I mean, it's basically, that's the main prompt, and then the rest was just some descriptors. So the prompt is to redraw the Fact Keeper, either their grave or them coming back to life. So I kind of did both. And the Fact Keeper was an older prompt by Vito, and it was, what I did was an owl, like owl-headed humanoid, also had like a owl wing cloak, but otherwise their body was just that of a person. So I drew a human hand coming out of the ground, and then I put it in some owl feathers around it, and I put the books that they had on their hip on the little grave marker stick. I mean, I don't get to those details for a while, but that is what I did. Otherwise, I just put it in the woods in some empty location, and it's more of a unmarked grave. I mean, yes, it is marked, but compared to a real grave, it's really not much. And I thought of the Fact Keeper being more of like a deity, or at least a pseudo-deity, where it has some sort of magical powers of some sort. I mean, like, the original image of it was in some weird glowing yellow fog realm. So I kind of implemented that, you'll see eventually, but I use like yellow and white cross marks to like symbolize magic happening. But you know, first I'm just getting the forest down because I feel like doing that to get lighting and stuff down was important. I mean, I end up going back to it once I do all the main actual focus stuff, but yeah. What else is there to say? I mean, there are some stuff with the magic that I want to talk about, but I think it'd be better if that was being shown when I talk about it. But yeah, I just felt that it was important to get this forest done early, and I probably put more effort into that than the actual subject matter, to be honest. But hey, showing that it is in an otherwise unremarkable place, that's storytelling. Yeah. A powerful Fact Keeper deity was buried here for some reason. Maybe it's their favorite spot. Maybe they had a buddy that this is their favorite spot, and that's why they buried him there. Who knows? I put in these white flowers just as like I thought they'd be a nice little pop of color. Thinking about it now, I probably could have looked up like a flower that symbolizes knowledge or something, and then put those in, but I didn't really think about that until right now. So that's something for next time. And now I'm finally getting to the hand. And with this hand, it is different than the original Fact Keeper's hand/arm, because on this one I end up adding a bunch of tattoos or markings along the entirety of the arm, which is not in the original. And in my mind, I thought that as they were collecting more and more knowledge, they started tattooing or scarring themselves with writing that would show that knowledge. And obviously it's not in like an actual written form, or, well, it is written form, but it's not in a language that is legible to us. Because, I don't know, forbidden knowledge, yada yada. Maybe this can somehow store more information. I don't know. I just thought it would be interesting. And then eventually here, yes, right here, I start adding in yellow to these marks, like building up from the ground, as if it was some sort of magic flowing through those scars or tattoos or whatever. And that was some of my thought of how they're being resurrected. And the color is yellow in that, and I end up using like the yellow cross marks, and then from above I do white and white cross marks, which I've been using to symbolize stuff in previous drawings. Like the yellow I've been using to show divine magical stuff, and then white is showing the life. So, you know, white and divine magic for, or life and divine magic-y stuff for resurrection. That's why I went with those colors. And now here I'm doing the books from the original Fat Keeper, who had 2 of these blue books around his hip. And I just have them tied around a little wooden stick grave marker. And I give him a little symbol. There wasn't a symbol on the original ones because you couldn't really see the cover. I just thought I'd make them more interesting. And don't ask me how the Fact Keeper is buried under there, with it only being like a tiny mound of dirt, but then the arm up to the shoulder, or nearly up to the shoulder. Like I guess they were buried sideways. And then I add in like this yellow veins on the ground, just to symbolize more of that magic coming up from below. Now here's the yellow crosses I was alluding to. And now at this point I'm adding in owl feathers, because right now there's zero way of telling that this was the Fact Keeper other than the books. So putting in the types of feathers that the original one had, you know, I'm just trying to show that it is the same character. Now with this shadow, I don't know, I didn't really like this shadow. Like on the arm I thought it was fine, but on the hand I thought it looked really bad. But I kept going with it. And around here, I start adding more crosses. Those are the yellow ones, but then I add the white ones on top of that. I assume I do that pretty soon here. I don't quite remember when I did it. But yeah, I messed a lot with that shadow because I didn't like it that much. Yeah, so they're the white crosses I was talking about. And then I try to add in even more shadow to be as if, obviously the canopy was casting shadows and then there'd be little holes of light piercing through the canopy. And then I added this mostly because I thought the hand was not popping out enough from the background. So, you know, another symbol, which is like similar to the symbol on the book. Just trying to tie that together even more. So maybe these books had the secret to immortality in them, and that's why I always had them on them. So you could eventually come back. And I'm just finishing up the forest background because I felt it was still very bare, even though I worked on it for however long in the beginning. And I add an overlay to try to do more of that light poking through the leaves. And then I finish it off with some grass blades. Anyway, thanks for watching the art. Thanks for listening and watching, whatever. Bye bye, bye. I'm out of time. Bye bye, bye, bye bye.